The charm of electric vehicles has been growing across the world and even in our country, given its zero greenhouse gas emission and clean energy consumption. Amid growing concerns about climate change, the government, despite sluggishness, has tried to adopt clean policies, and as a result, some 300 electric buses are to arrive in the country for public transportation in the near future. Good morning, I am Bipashna Tamang and these are the headlines of the hour. Main opposition CPN-UML boycotts the all-party meeting called by the Speaker. Parties recommend a meeting with the opposition to end the stalemate. Incarcerated people compelled to live in dire prison conditions. Interested inmates deprived of employment as the government fails to implement the open prison concept. Aid of more than $1 billion pledged for Afghanistan following warnings from the United Nations of a looming catastrophe. And Nepal defeats USA by 5 wickets in the Tri-Series under the ICC World Cup League 2. Kushal Bhurtel and Rohit Patil score half-centuries in the win. The main opposition CPN-UML boycotted yesterday's all-party meeting called by the Speaker aiming to end the Parliament's stalemate. Political parties attending the meeting, meanwhile, turned to the Speaker himself to seek for a consensus on the issue. The ruling alliance urged the Speaker to call another meeting after holding a meeting with the main opposition to reach an agreement. Speaker Sapkota, however, informed that he had tried to convince the main opposition party. The meeting, meanwhile, ended inconclusively. The main opposition CPN-UML said the party cannot be a part of the meeting in the presence of the Speaker himself and leaders of CPN Unified Socialists, against whom they have been staging protests. The party is looking to exclude lawmakers of the newly formed CPN Unified Socialists from the Parliament and the all-party meeting. The party has been demanding the Speaker to either publish the notice of the suspension of the 14 lawmakers from their posts or pave way to end the current obstruction himself. Prisons in developed nations have more rehabilitation centers than institutions established to punish the convicted. However, in the case of Nepal, prisons come with not just prison time, but with added health and mental problems due to poor and unmanaged infrastructures. Furthermore, the government has also failed in implementing the concept of open prison, which has deprived incarcerated people of employment opportunities. We have more in this report.
Barbed wires and walls. This is District Jail, Kailali. There are 482 inmates in this jail, way beyond the capacity of 200. Although outside the walls, security officials are strictly monitoring the building, the lives of the inmates inside is still at risk due to weak infrastructure. The hygiene in all of the corners are also largely questionable. In another jail in Jaleshwar, 600 inmates are serving prison time in a building that can actually only accommodate 200 people. Inmates have to even wait to get their turn to sleep in the night. There are 74 prisons spread out in majority of the districts in the country. The total capacity of these prisons is around 15,000. However, there are 24,700 individuals serving prison time at the moment. This includes 18,651 individuals below the age of 40. The government has been providing a daily allowance of 60 rupees and 700 grams of rice to these prison inmates. Likewise, the overall expenditure on those incarcerated sums up to more than 2 billion rupees each year. Based on the state laws, any imprisoned person that has been sentenced for over 3 years can work for 3 days to reduce 1 day off their sentence. However, even those interested in employment have not been able to work due to weak implementation of the open prison concept.
Welcome back. The government had approved the business continuity loan guidelines some 10 months back, aiming to provide concessional loan to COVID-hit industries to give continuity to their businesses. However, barely 72 small industries have received such loans so far, whereas there are more than 400,000 small and medium-scale industries in the country. We have more in this report.
The COVID-19 pandemic compelled more than 61% of industries to shut down. During the pandemic, only 4% of total industries were in operation full-fledged. Many of the companies stopped providing their staff salary since the beginning of the pandemic. Considering the COVID-battered industries, the government envisioned a business continuity loan policy in the budget of the last fiscal year to help these industries provide salaries to their staffs. However, it took almost 7 months for the government to draft the guidelines, and so far, only 72 industries have received the loan. Most of the industries have failed to meet the criteria set by the government that requires the companies to have distributed salary through banking system and renewed registration by mid-March 2019. Banks and financial institutions have reported of receiving limited number of applications, while industrialists have criticized banks for being largely unsupportive. The central bank, meanwhile, has not taken any initiatives to facilitate industries for such loan provisions. As the guidelines restricts banks to levy more than 5% interest in such loan and profit margin is limited to just 3%, banks and financial institutions have been alleged of showing disinterest in providing the concessional loan.
The electric public bus procurement initiated by Saja Transport that had been stalled due to procedural hassles has finally gained momentum. Saja Transport has finalized the supplier company to procure 40 electric buses in the first stage, which will arrive in the Kathmandu Valley within the next 4 months. The government had decided to procure 300 electric buses for the Kathmandu Valley 3 years ago. This was in order to reduce the overall consumption of fossil fuel and reduce the growing pollution as well. Saja Transport was provided with 3 billion rupees in mid-2019 to procure the said number of electric buses within 3 months' time. However, the government asked for the money to be returned, citing lack of progress. Saja was once again handed the same responsibility some 6 months back. Now the company has agreed to procure 40 electric buses in the first phase, which will operate within the valley. 3 of the 40 buses will arrive by mid-January and the remaining by mid-March.
Charging station को आवश्यक सम्पूर्ण चार्जर र अन्य सामानहरु यही बस सप्लायरले नै दिन्छ। त्यसैले बस सप्लाई गर्दाखेरि हामीले तीनटा कुरा भनेको एउटा बस, दोस्रो त्यसको लागि आवश्यक चार्जर र तेस्रो चाहिँ 5 वर्षको लागि मेन्टेनेन्स सेवा पनि उनीहरुले नै दिन्छ। प्रक्रियामा के छ भन्दाखेरि यो कम्पनीले 4 महिना भित्रमा 3 वटा बस सप्लाई गर्नुपर्छ। त्यो 3 वटा बस हामीले पहिला ट्रायल गर्छौं हैन, काठमाडौँमा हामीले चलाएर सबै ठीक छ भने अनि त्यसपछि बाँकी बसहरु त्यसपछि मात्रै उले सप्लाई गर्छ।
Each of the buses will require an investment of 1.5 billion rupees, which includes charging equipment and 5 years of maintenance service. Likewise, the government will provide the land required to establish charging stations. An agreement has also been reached with the Nepal Electricity Authority. Every year, Nepal imports petroleum products worth more than 250 billion rupees, most of which is consumed by the transport sector. And in our Public Voice segment, we had asked the people in all these 7 provinces what should be done to raise the use of electric vehicles. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public Voice.
सरकारले करहरु घटाउनु पर्यो, त्यसपछि बाटोहरु राम्रो बनाउनु पर्यो, ठाउँ-ठाउँमा रिचार्ज सेन्टरहरु राख्नु पर्यो।
मेन त सरकारबाट करहरु एकदम छुट गर्नु पर्यो, ठाउँ-ठाउँमा पनि यो चार्जर स्टेशनहरु हाल्नु पर्यो।
राजस्व करमा छुट हुनु पर्यो हैन। त्यसपछि ठाउँ-ठाउँमा त्यो चार्ज गर्नको लागि सर्भिस सेन्टर हुनु पर्यो।
यसको ब्याट्री महँगो छ अनि यसको कस्ट पनि महँगो छ। भन्सारमा केही छुट भएर र तपाईको चाहिँ यो विविध ठाउँमा चाहिँ उपयुक्त हुने ठाउँमा चाहिँ चार्जिङ पोइन्टको पनि अति आवश्यक छ।
गभर्नमेन्टहरुले नयाँ रुल्सहरु ल्याउनु पर्यो, त्यसको धेरै युज गर्नको लागि अब सबैजनालाई यस्तो पोलिसीहरु ल्याउने मान्छेहरूलाई अवेर गर्ने त्यसको कति फाइदाहरू छ के छ भनेर
विद्युतीय गाडीमा लगाउने गरेको कर जुन छ त्यसलाई मध्यनजर राख्नु पर्यो र अर्को चार्जिङ स्टेसनहरू जो ठाउँ ठाउँमा राख्नु पर्यो।
Time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
And here's the question: what should be done to better manage prisons? Your options: option A, improve policy; option B, focus on infrastructures; and option C, implement open prison concept. The voting is on. Type any WS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. And time now for the sports update.
Sports news.
Nepal has started the ODI Tri-Series under the ICC World Cup League 2 with a 5-wicket win over USA. Kushal Bhurtel and Rohit Paudel scored half-centuries in Nepal's convincing win over USA. In the day and night match played at the Al Amirat cricket ground in Oman yesterday, USA batted first after winning the toss and posted 230 runs in the stipulated 50 overs, losing 9 wickets. Manang Patel played an instrumental role in USA's innings as he scored a century of 114 balls to help the American team post a respectable total. Nepalese bowlers Sandeep Lamichhane, Bikram Sob and Shushan Bhare grabbed 2 wickets each, while Kushal Malla also claimed a wicket. Chasing a victory target of 231 runs, Nepal romped home with 5 wickets in hand and 6 balls to spare. Opener Kushal Bhurtel top scored with 84 runs, hitting 3 sixes and 3 fours. Rohit Paudel also contributed an unbeaten 62, while Binod Bhandari added 37 runs in Nepal's win. American bowlers Nostarsh Kenjige and Nisarg Patel took 2 wickets each, while Saurabh Netravalkar also claimed a wicket. With the win, Nepal has secured 6 points from 5 matches and is in the 6th spot of the points table. Oman leads the table with 16 points from 10 matches, while USA is in the 2nd spot with 12 points from 13 matches. Nepal is playing its 2nd match of the Tri-Series against host Oman later today. The day and night match is scheduled to start at 4:15 p.m. Nepal time. That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.